All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you all to this space that we're creating for Frontline Fathers. We're trying to put fathers first, and so I'm Dr. Adrian Hendricks II.
And I'm Raymond Okolo, and I'm excited to be here.
Listen, we decided that we were going to get together and we're just going to chop it up because we wanted to have a space for men and for fathers, especially fathers that are developing, fathers that are trying to figure out, how do I be a good dad? No pun intended, but how do I become a good dad? But then also, how do I get things lined out in my life so that my children, my family, can really be proud of who I am, and I can build the kind of family that really testifies to my faith and testifies to who we want to be in this world. So we're here to have that conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a very important space. I'm a new dad, so
Yeah, so let's get right into that.
yeah,
So you're a new father.
yeah.
Like, what did it feel like the moment that you realized that this child just made me a dad? Like, what did that feel like?
It was an overwhelming sense of joy. Like, first, I was in the hospital through the whole process, and the doctors were like, "He's coming. I can see his head," and I'm like, "Okay, where? What are you looking at? I can't see it." And then he comes out, and I'm like, "Oh God, I am a father now." Like, so
Yeah.
it's amazing, man. It's a beautiful feeling.
Listen, I tell my daughter often that, you made me a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your presence made me a dad. And it's kind of interesting because my life I was really not going the way it was supposed to be going. And the moment that I became a dad, it's like everything was like lock in
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
All of my playtime, all of that stuff, like that was immediately over. Lock in. Let me get my job situation right. Let me make sure my baby's not gonna be,
Out in the streets.
I'm not training her up for no. My child is gonna have what she needs. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure that she's got clothes and food and covering and so on and so forth. And so it became not just a moment of being proud to be a father,
Yeah.
but mission.
Yeah.
Like my mission got clear that day. My mission is to raise my child to be somebody that will have opportunity, capacity, God ordained it and all that.
Yeah.
And so that immediate moment pulled that out of me,
Yeah.
and I started to act accordingly.
Yeah, I tell you, it's like a click. It's a switch. I'm budgeting differently
Oh
now. I'm
yeah.
scrapping all my plans. I'm rescheduling everything now, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. Before I make a decision, I got to be used to be. Let me call my wife, and I was like, well, hold on. Let me talk to my wife about my baby.
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. We can't be in certain places no more. Like friends are like, we gotta take a trip. Like, yeah, he's 2 months.
Right.
We can't be everywhere now.
Right. You got to protect them.
We gotta protect them
Like
now.
that protective factor. So, again, like fathers, one of the key things about being a father
Yeah.
is to be a protector.
Yep.
And your perspective of the world changes because now you're assessing all threats at all levels. What's in the neighborhood, what's going on at work, what's going to threaten your pockets, what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the culture. All those things become now things that I've got to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely.
While also checking the doors at night, walking the neighborhood, like, threat where you at. I'm looking to make sure that everything is cool.
Yeah, figuring out safe spaces. I tell my wife, if anything happens and I'm not home, this is where we're meeting.
Right.
I'm thinking that I'm looking
Right.
at myself like,
Right.
what?
Right.
I'm thinking
Right.
like a superhero.
Yeah. Good dad's plan. Good dad's, you say thinking like a super.
Yeah. I'm thinking like a super. This is what's gonna happen. If I'm showing my wife everything. I'm like, this is the water valve. If it gets flooded in the house, you gotta turn this off. That's the circuit. You gotta turn everything up. I'm like,
bat code number 3271. Push this button, take 2 steps back, and watch everything else move. That becomes a part of that fabric. And again, I feel like a part of that type of space is lost somewhat in our culture now.
Yeah.
But there are men trying to regain and reclaim that space. Like, yes, we are here, we are involved, and there's certain things that we just got to do.
Yes.
There's certain pieces that we got to do.
Yes.
And so you've been a new father for a couple of weeks. Talk to me a little bit about how this evolution has been, moving you to think different, be different, but also inspiring you to become, what you've never been?
Yeah. Um, I would start with it stretched me.
Stretched you.
I found myself reading. So I started reading books about being a dad. Obviously, there's no blueprint about being a good dad, but you
Right,
can
right,
always be learning. You could always learn.
right.
So there was something I found recently. I think the second week while my child was there. It's called a steel face experiment.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically when you with your baby, you need to make that eye contact. Being present.
Okay.
But most times our generations, we're the technology generation, so we're
Right.
always on our phone. We're just carrying the
Right.
baby,
Right.
and that causes distress.
Okay.
And that changed my perspective. And me and my wife do this thing now. When we're with him, no phones, no TV.
Okay.
We're either talking to him or talking to ourselves and looking at him, making sure we're being present.
Right.
So it stretched me because I'm always used to I have my phone right now. I'm always used to being around my phone, working on the computer. I have my office set up, so I don't even carry him in my office because I know I'll be tempted to use the computer.
Right.
So it's stretching
But
me.
isn't that something though? Here it is. Now you're reprioritizing what is valuable,
Yeah.
how you're doing time, how you're making your decisions. And a decision that you conscientiously are making is this person needs my undivided attention.
Definitely.
Right. And the feeling that the baby gets because you're directing that attention now, they feel that safety, that stress that mama carries and dad carries. They don't get to experience that because now that stress is not a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a stretching process, but it's worth it.
I mean, think about how many guys could be better fathers if they just put the phone down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, listen, okay, fellas, here's that's an easy tip. If you want to be a good dad, then engage your kids, put the phone down, and use your mouth, mind, your history, tell your story, right? One of the things I was listening to this person, they were talking about how they became, they are very smart, brilliant writer, researcher, and so on and so forth. But he said that it all started when my mother had to work and she had to work at night, but she would read stories and record them and play them so that we would have a bedtime story.
Wow.
I said that's some commitment.
Wow. That's
now mamas don't play.
They don't play.
And so, but what would it be like if fathers were telling powerful stories, even their own stories? The other thing that they did I thought was very interesting is that they were reading stories that everybody, the Hardy Boy, all these other people, but they were putting the kids' names in the story.
Wow.
And so the story it became about the child. The child was, hearing their name in the adventure. I was like, that's some intentional activity, right? But if fathers were deciding how to be good fathers, one thing, of course, is partitioning out that time and then making that child understand how valuable they are. And I'm creating space at a sacrifice. I'm creating space to be with you because I want you to know intentionally you mean that much to me.
That much to me. That's powerful. That's powerful. I think from your point is we have to shift that narrative from just being present or being intentional.
Oh yeah.
Because we could be present and not be intentional. And back there's a show called Bumbling Dads. I believe that's what it's called. The dads were struggling to figure out how to take care of the babies because the mothers left them with the babies and all that. But now I think we're changing the narrative of being present and intentional. Men are no longer just part-time or helping hands.
Right.
We're actually part of the parents. And if you look at the research now, it shows that when men are actually nurturing and being intentional with their children, it reduces their testosterone levels.
Okay.
Because that's our aggressive nature. That's the nature that, we're always in competition nature. That's the nature that keeps us aggressive, fight or flight mode. But it reduces it and brings the level of oxytocin up. That's the nurturing side of men.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing more fathers being more emotionally intelligent.
Did you hear that? We can be tough and nurturing at the same time.
Yeah, we can. We have both sides. So we're not just helps. We're actually nurture. We have the nurturing side. We have the nurturing side of men. Society always makes us look like we're always tough all the time. We spank the kids, we scold the kids, but we
and me and you, we are chefs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We do the cooking. We do some of the cooking. He does a lot of cooking. I do some cooking. But again, being creative and being in that space to say, you know what, I may not have a lot going on, but I know how, just like mama and them used to do. I know how to take a little of this, a
Yep.
little of that, put it together, add a little salt and pepper, we good.
Make it look good. Yep. That's
It's
good.
them daddy creations.
Wonderful.
All right, so what would be one question that you would ask as a young father, as a new father,
Yeah.
that you think would be important that other people might understand or share that perspective? What type of thing would you think would be a good space to get advice about moving in this fatherhood, this fatherhood space now?
I think my question would be to anyone who could answer me. It's something I've been pondering about is a father's blessing and a father's wound.
A father's blessing
And a father's wound.
and a father's wound.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So tell me a little bit more about the father's wound part.
Yeah. Things that your father did that you don't want to do.
Woo! Oh my goodness! Oh, I don't know what you want to call it. Father's wound.
Yeah, that's what I can't. That's
the father's blessing on the. Okay,
yeah.
So
that's one question I always want to figure out. Like, what are some things that our parents did that we know, if we put the way we were raised, and we ask ourselves, would you want to be raised the same way you were raised?
Yeah. That's a striking question, right? Because I can think back, I can look at my own father, and again, my dad. I had a dad. First of all, I had a dad. He demonstrated and modeled, he exemplified fatherhood and manhood to me. But of course, like anybody else, he had his flaws.
Yes.
But I think that what's kind of interesting is I didn't realize until I had children that my dad was around the same age that I was when I had kids, when he had me. And so all the times that I was like, as a little kid, we were out playing and they would send us to the room and go, y'all go play. Like I did the exact same thing because we were young and we was hanging out with our, parenting friends.
Yeah.
And, playing cards or doing whatever. And I was like, they didn't know what they was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't know, just like we didn't know really what we were doing in a professional sense. We knew we had to take care of the kids, make sure everybody's safe, but we were living, right? We were living and with children.
Yeah.
And so it gave me a little bit of space to have some grace,
yes,
to what they did not do or could not do or how they had to navigate.
Yeah.
When I think about some of the things that they my dad had to travel, right? He was a arson investigator, special agent, commander for the state of Illinois, but he had to travel the state all the time. And so when he wasn't around, when he wasn't there, I had to understand he would like to be there, but he had to go get the bacon, what I mean? Bring home the bread. And so that sacrifice, young fathers are put in that position all the time. And looking back at my own life, I was working for the Department of Transportation. I was training, for almost 10 years. I was all over the state.
Wow.
And it was only until my son was at the window crying at 11 o'clock at night, where's dad?
Wow.
That my wife put him on the phone so I can hear what was happening. And that's when I said, I got to change jobs.
Yeah.
I got to change jobs because I understand how that absence, what it allowed for me to do and what my mother couldn't control, right? She couldn't manage because she just wasn't, the capacity is only so much. And so I made that decision right then and there. I got to come off the road. And I did. And I changed careers so that they would not have that same kind of absence, even though, you're trying to make money and you're trying to do those types of things. So, there's a lot of father's wounds pieces. But let's just look at that one time from the blessing side. I think one of the most powerful things that fathers can understand about who they are, even if you look at Abraham, how he blessed his children, you look at the different biblical models, your words matter so much. What you say to your kids. Like even you want to correct them and man, these kids, boy. You know, you say you say that, you do that, but your words mean so much. And so I try to practice telling my kids not just I love you guys and I'm proud of you. I appreciate who you are, but knowing the leverage and the power of what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know, I want to speak life to you. I want to speak covering to you.
Yeah.
I want to speak capacity. You know what I mean? And so even when I see that they're not in a place where they may have low confidence or feel like they're not necessarily, rocking at a certain level, I'm talking that talk to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I believe in you.
Yeah.
And I want you to understand that there's nothing that if you put your mind to it, that you can't do. And I want to shape that not to be unrealistic as well.
Yes.
Right. I don't want to set them up for failure. So, that the power of blessing comes out of your heart and your desire to see what God can do for them, with them, through you, and through the community. Oof. You know what I mean? So what blessings are you speaking over your son?
Oh, he can't even. He can probably he's probably tired of me every day.
Dad, you are great.
Every day, every day I'm speaking life into him because I think for me it's something I struggled with because I never received it. My mom died a month after I was born, so my dad had to do what he had to do to make sure we were good. The blessing part I got to some extent. I'm from the Igbo tribe of West Africa, Nigeria.
Yes.
So whenever a child is leaving the country, like when I was leaving America, my dad, I knelt down, he blessed me.
Yeah.
So we do those traditional rites. But when it comes to the aspect of the wounds, he was barely at home.
Yeah.
There was my dad would be like, "Oh, how's school? It was good. Okay, good." Check. How's school? Have you eaten? Yep. And then now I'm older. I look back and I realized that he didn't know better.
Right.
It was just past.
Right.
So this is me changing the narrative and breaking generational curses and making sure I'm being more emotional, expressive to my son.
Right.
Even though he probably can't even understand me, but
he hears
every morning. He prays with me.
You're locking it into his subconscious.
Man, I'm speaking over his life. I'm speaking over his destiny, his friends. He's gonna meet his wife, his children's children. I'm speaking it into him and seeing how I was raised and seeing the good parts of it, I'm taking it and bringing it also into his life. But the ones, I got to deal with them myself first.
Yeah. Well, you're on the right track, man. You're on the right track. You know what I mean? Listen, we wanted to just bless you all. We're gonna wrap this up, but listen, you have spent a few minutes with Dr. A and Ray. We are in the space. This is our first episode dealing with fathers and fatherhood. Let us know what you think. Drop something in the chat.
Yeah.
Share with another brother, another father, inspire another young man or older brother to get back on the post, get back on the fence. We need to protect our families, and we're looking to train, raise, and develop frontline fathers that are not afraid to be on the forefront of fatherhood for their families. And so, God bless you. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
All right.
That was good.
Hey.